There's nothing like being in the stands cheering on your favorite team. Game Time is your hack to unlocking amazing tickets in just a few taps. Plus, their Game Time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets at the best price. Fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay. Get the best deals on sports tickets. Download the Game Time app and create an account to start searching for tickets to upcoming games and events. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We're kicking off hour 2 of Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network, Sirius XM channel 158. Wherever you're watching or listening from, we appreciate it. We hope you're staying safe and warm as well with all of the weather conditions that are going on crazy across the country. I am out here in Lubbock, Texas, currently stranded, hoping to get back home today. We'll see how that plays out, as during the commercial break, I was checking to see if the flight that's supposed to be inbound from Vegas to Lubbock actually does take off. So fingers crossed, I'll have an update there in the next 10 minutes or so. JVT is out there at the D today. How are the new digs treating you?
I enjoy being out here very much. I like the environment. I like being able to just hop off and maybe go play a little bit of video poker, although I am hurting from over the weekend. The Seahawks winning yesterday did help me out, recoup some losses, but winning and covering, I should note. But, yeah, you know, okay. It's I like this environment. I think that you know this a little bit about me, but I'm one that does kind of get wrapped up in an environment. You know, I will very much, absorb the energy in the scene around me and blend in like a chameleon and match it. So I like this sort of setting.
One thing about JVT, ladies and gentlemen, he's not afraid to have a time.
That's right. So I make friends easily.
By the way, you do. You have, you're, I think, at times kind of a challenging person to read. And then once I see you in your natural habitat of playing a little video poker, playing a game, maybe have a beer in your hand, you're much more open. You're so happy and kind and generous and smiley. And I feel like you actually like me. It's really cool.
I'm a very amicable guy. That guy in Omaha just handed me something to smoke and I was like, yeah, let's do this. And then we went off from there, you know?
I don't know. You're putting the cigs down and you're a big Zin guy now. Okay. This has gotten off the rails. Call me crazy, but we're getting a little out of hand here. So
it wasn't a cigarette.
Let's kick things off with a little bit of fun. Call me crazy coming up.
Put on your tinfoil hats.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. The whole world gone crazy.
For Call Me Crazy, but...
All right, let's have a little bit of fun here. For all of the conversation, JVT, around is the drop-off from Bo Nix to Jarrett Stidham really that significant? I think that that question was answered pretty well, and that the answer was yes. Call me crazy, but if Bo Nix plays that game, Denver wins yesterday.
No. I mean, come on. Now, first off, now it depends on what you're arguing here, because I think you just made two different arguments. My rebuttal would be, no, it was proven that the difference between Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham was not that wide because they covered the game. So I don't think that there is that big of a difference from a point spread perspective. Don't roll your eyes. This is the point you made, so I'm going to fight against the point. Now, if you're making the point that Bo Nix would win the game, maybe that's something different. I would argue that the guy who threw for under 200 yards against two teams that were starting their backup quarterbacks and had absolutely nothing in the last 2 weeks of the regular season maybe would struggle a little bit in an environment like that last night. So, no, I disagree. I think you're crazy.
So I'm absolutely not crazy, especially when you think about what Bo Nix did throughout the course of the regular season in the fourth quarter and in clutch moments. Jarrett Stidham, playing his first game, looked good on about one drive and then was lost for everything else after that. 17 of 31, 133 yards, a touchdown, a pick, sacked 3 times. He had that one play on 3rd and 4 that was just abysmal, and that's a mistake I don't think that Bo Nix would have made in that
Stormy.
moment. And so I understand that the Broncos covered the number. I understand what you're saying, but my call me crazy was that Bo Nix would have won that game, I think.
No, and I'm going to agree with you. Stormy, Stidham tried to do it again later in the game. There was a moment where he tried to throw it again like a pitch, and he got sacked before he could do it. I was amazed by it. Oh, no, Stidham was terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't think.
But, everybody's showing up like, oh, look at Stiddy with the cowboy hat. He's ready to roll. He's Sean Payton saying that he's one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the National Football League. Like, miss me with that.
I will say, before I move to mine, somebody in the area in which I was watching the game yesterday may have uttered, what can the Broncos get for Bo Nix after that touchdown drive for the Denver Broncos? So we'll see.
What are we doing?
I may have agreed. All right, call me crazy, but we don't have to. We don't have to effing complain about all these things, man. Like, can we just enjoy things for a moment? There's so many different things we can go here. For example, all I hear is people whining and complaining that the Buffalo Bills are going to move indoors. And then yesterday, you're all complaining that the weather is going to impact the decision to make it to the Super Bowl. What are we complaining about? We constantly have to do this. Or how about the fact, folks, some of these rules analysts have made mistakes. They're not all perfect. But many people were dunking on I can't even remember who was on the Fox broadcast, usually is, that the moment, I think it was Rashid Shaheed on the catch out of bounds, and the question of whether it was catchable or not on the sideline. And people were like, it hit him in the head, Dean. Yes, it hit him in the head because he was shoved out of bounds. He was not anywhere near the catch. It hit him in the head because he was shoved into it. It was going to be an extremely difficult catch that maybe was not able to be caught. There are a lot of people that I know, Stormathan, that said last year that Sam Darnold was cooked, had nothing left, that are retweeting Mina Kimes and dunking on her because she's got a tweet out there that he stinks and that the Seahawks aren't going to upgrade. You all said the same thing. You guys all suck, man. All you do is complain. It is so annoying. It gets so old. Can you shut the hell up and can we enjoy something for once?
Are you just as bad because you're complaining about complainers? I mean, look at you go. You just won't stop.
No, I won't. I had that written down. I practiced.
No, but I am in agreement with you, and it actually brings up another sidebar point for me. Like, you would have to pay me serious money to join in on, like, Twitter arguments, and I know you kind of love them and you feed off of them. It is my worst nightmare, seeing people go back and forth and back and forth. Like, you couldn't pay me enough to watch a TikTok video and then get in the comments with my disagreement on said video. Like, it's not going to happen, and that's all everyone does. It is a massive societal flaw in 2025 that all we do is complain and think everyone is wrong.
Was the TikTok video the one of you saying Avery Johnson should win the Heisman?
Stop. You know what? I'm just deleting my TikTok altogether. I can't handle you. That said, call me crazy, but get your Super Bowl prop over bets in now. And I know the prop markets aren't fully open, but this is just a big picture conversation about Super Bowl betting as we go, because you are already seeing some of these numbers that have been set for DraftKings and the rushing and passing yards numbers already bet up. I'd be curious what JSN is going to be in a week compared to the 90 plus yards that he's at on DraftKings right now, or Sam Darnold's passing yards. These are all going to go up. We talk about it in betting a ton. Unders early, overs late. With the Super Bowl coming 2 weeks out, you're going to have ample opportunity to get in on these markets. And if you, all of the public money for the most part is going to be coming in that weekend of Super Bowl Sunday. So if you want to bet an under, you need to think ahead about what you want to play so that you can get the better number, because by the time we get closer to Super Bowl Sunday, we're going to have a completely different menu than we have later this week.
I would agree.
Where are you going next?
Okay, that's all I got. I was going to say that's it. Very good words from Stormy Buonantony. What are you talking about? All right,
you need to learn how to transition. Just get to your next thing if you don't have an opinion. Jeez.
It would help if maybe you were here. By the way, side note, call me crazy. Maybe don't fill in on a game that is in the midst of a winter storm and then get stuck in another city for 4 days. But that's just me. Call me crazy, but let's talk a little bit about this Seahawks squad. This is the best overall team we've seen in the last 10 years for the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think that there's a question about it. If you look and balance all three of the facets of the game, Stormy, offense, defense, and special teams, can you find me a team that was as strong in all three facets of the game than this Seahawks team that we have seen over the last decade? I don't think so. I think that we underrate or don't appreciate enough, or maybe can even quantify how good this team is on special teams that has made a difference for them and why they have been so dominant. This is one of the best defenses we've seen in a long time. If you consider all balance and facets of the game, I think it's the best overall team we've seen in 10 years.
I'd have to think about it more and really go through. But obviously, like, defensively, they're the number one defense in the NFL. I think offensively, when they want to show up, they do. And special teams, yeah, they have that advantage in every matchup. I would have to go back to really think about some of our past Super Bowl matchups and what teams had that caliber. But I can't call you crazy now, but I'll report back tomorrow if I can call you crazy then. I want to throw this in there, especially coming off the American Express yesterday. Call me crazy, but this is just another year where we're going to have to attack winner without Scheffler markets, it appears, because he, as a plus 290 favorite, gets the dub over the weekend, 6 under 66 in the final round to reach 27 under for the weekend, a 4-shot win over the rest of the field. Going through the numbers, it is Scottie Scheffler's 14th win in his last 35 starts going back to 2024. His worst finish in the last 20 starts was a T25 at the Phoenix Open. It was one of just 3 times all of last season he finished outside of the top 10. He makes it so hard to bet golf outrights because he is so good, and already looking ahead to the Waste Management coming up on Super Bowl weekend, he's like plus 220.
He had, so I don't remember what hole it was, but as we were watching the games yesterday, he had about a 50-ish foot putt, not even a putt, he chipped it in almost. It skidded over the hole, and then he had just putted it in from a foot away. It was one of the more brilliant shots of the day from him. He's absolutely incredible. You're right. Our boy Blades completely fell apart. He doubled one of the holes and then just kind of fell off. I mean, he's the fact that this was his first event and he just comes in and torches the field like this. Good luck, man. This thing looks like it's a wrap, and I know it's all different events, but I don't care. Like, is this guy going to miss out on a top 10 this year? I think that's going to be a real thing to ask.
Yeah, and his prices are just going to get crazier and crazier as we go. And maybe actually that's a good question that we can ask Jeff Sherman. He's going to join us coming up next on the program, VP of Risk Management over at the Westgate Sportsbook. He is also their lead golf odds maker. So what does he view of Scottie Scheffler already starting off the season on this type of a tear? What are the angles to bet the PGA Tour throughout the course of the season? We will get to that as well as his thoughts on the Super Bowl when we return. But JVT, I think you got a little something we got to do here.
Yeah, ProfitX, folks, #1 place for college basketball player props. Check them out now as we get closer to March Madness. Take advantage of ProfitX's 20% purchase match. Use the promo code VSIN to get started. Download ProfitX now. Experience the future of winning.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
All right, we're rolling along on this Monday edition of Money Moves, VSiN, the sports betting network, Sirius XM channel 158. Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Lots to get to, and very excited to have Jeff Sherman with us on the program as we head behind the counter.
Where are the lines changing? And where's the money going? Let's go behind the counter.
Let's do it. Jeff Sherman, VP of Risk Management at Westgate Superbook, also lead golf odds maker. And I know we've got a lot to talk about coming off the AFC and NFC championships yesterday. Super Bowl is set and upon us, but last segment, we're actually just talking about Scottie Scheffler and the American Express. First event out the gate for him, and he's such a short favorite, ends up winning, of course. Is golf going to be impossible to bet outrights again this year, Jeff?
It really feels like it, and especially since he won by a margin yesterday. And, I had to adjust his odds for the Masters, the other majors, his odds to win a major, FedEx Cup, and everything's so short on him. It's just when he's playing that week, it's tough to put your money elsewhere. So, I know myself when I'm going to invest in this, I'm going to look for the weeks that Scottie's not playing.
How has this altered some of the golf betting? Do people want to bet more with such a power at the top of the board, Jeff? Are they staying away? What has golf handle been like with this dominant run from him, including this last weekend?
Well, traditionally, we've seen a lot of support for him, even at these short odds, just like we did when Tiger was running at the short odds 5-2 range, things like that. But this past week, we didn't see much support for Scottie. I opened him 3-1, closed him 7-2. The support really showed up elsewhere. And that's the one thing that you get as an effect. When you have the short odds with Scottie, everybody else's odds, they're much higher. So you tend to attract action all throughout the pool.
Do you guys post winner without markets over there at the Westgate?
We don't do that. It's we're handicapped a bit by our operating system, so we have a little bit less than other places are able to offer.
All right, coming up this weekend, Jeff, I know we're going to talk a little bit, but a quick preview. What do you expect in terms of handle for this coming weekend with really a vacuum of power when it comes to sports? We're going to have college basketball. We're going to have the NBA. But will this be a popular tournament for you coming up at Torrey Pines?
It will. It's just because there's a tradition there. And, the South Course, we've had U.S. Opens there before. You get a solid field. You get the return of Brooks Koepka to the PGA Tour. So there's some storylines to go along with it. And it'll be a very good handle, especially when you have the 2 days, one day on the North Course, one day on the South Course. So you see some low scores on the North Course, and it makes for a good tournament.
And then you got the Waste Management after that, which is such an event. And, of course, it pairs every year with the Super Bowl, too. How much handle does that typically get when you're going directly up against the Super Bowl as well? Is it still pretty good?
That's one of our larger regular PGA Tour tournament stops just because you have everyone in town for Super Bowl week and they get involved with everything you have on the betting menu. So it's tremendous, especially because of the 16th hole. Everyone knows about that. It's great handle, and it'll be all through the weekend with the adjusted odds that we do. So we're expecting tremendous support in that one.
All right, Jeff, let's see. This last weekend, how was it in terms of the National Football League, AFC, NFC? I think if I remember correctly, talking to your colleague, John Murray, Rams getting knocked out was a good thing for you guys?
It was. They were our only remaining liability that we had between the four teams. So having Seattle, New England gives us a head start to all our Super Bowl wagering options. So that was a good result for us. Plus, the games went well for us, too. We had made the New England-Denver number less than what was out there. We thought it was going to be in the 3.5 range. So we were pretty aggressive booking that low, and we were one of the first down to 3.5 and took a lot of New England support at that number. So that game really worked out well for us. And same thing with the Seattle Rams game. We got some sharp support on Seattle, booked towards that side. So both games were pretty good for the house yesterday.
What's been the early movement at Westgate on the Super Bowl line that you guys have put out?
Well, we opened the Seahawks -4 and 46.5, and immediately we saw Seahawks support. And so it caused us to shift the line up to 4.5, which is where we sit now. Total dipped down to 46 right now. I'm expecting the sharps to be on New England and the under. We did see some sharp support from a respected bettor that we have take +4.5 with New England. Not enough to make us move it, but I'm expecting the sharps to be on the dog and under in this one.
Jeff, when we have so much time and so much of the handle to come in before this Super Bowl over the next 2 weeks, how do you guys handle responding to action from some of your respected accounts? Will you maybe be less inclined to move? Will you be more inclined to move? How do you respond with tinkering the number and the early bets that trickle in before the glut of the action comes in on Super Bowl weekend?
Well, it's such a big market. It's going to take so much more to move it, really. But it's, who we respected throughout the season. And, we'll be getting our props up Wednesday evening this time. We usually do it Thursday evenings, but it's going to be Wednesday at 7 this week. And that's going to be over 50% of our wagering handle will be on the proposition. So over the course of a week and a half, going through those. And, when we make these prop numbers too, it helps us shape our decision on the game. That we can tell by how we come up with these numbers on the props, kind of look more into the game on who we might like and how we book the game itself. So it'll be interesting to see what angle we come up with going through the props.
Yeah, I got that release in my email this morning that you guys were going to do the prop bet menu a day early, nearly 400 big game props coming out at 7. What are some of the options that people can expect when they go out there at Westgate and look to bet the Super Bowl?
Well, it's a lot of the main options people want, the passing yards and, just everything, every combination that you can do of a player. And, we've just expanded that over the years to do, let's just say, one of the quarterback's touchdown passes. We'll do variations of it now, over 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, things like that. So it really takes the regular markets that people are used to seeing and doing variables of those to try to get a larger menu.
Some of the props are pretty brilliant. There's a prop I think that you guys have been using the last couple of years, Jeff. Will a team convert a 4th down in their own territory? That's very unique. How did you guys come up with that one?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying to find out how we came up with that one. But, we've actually gotten some interest in that across the counter, so it's going to be staying on the menu.
All right. For those who are listening, that was one that I suggested to Jay Cornegay many years ago, and they were nice enough to put it up. I think that was the Eagles-Patriots Super Bowl that first time around, but neither here nor there, as Stormy likes to say. All right, well, Jeff, what do you like here? The Seahawks, like you mentioned the number and the total. What do you initially look at with this game as we're getting closer to this, but we have plenty of time to dissect it. What do you like?
Well, my initial lean is New England because when we were making our numbers last night, I had Seattle 3.5, and I didn't think it should be any more than that. So when I started seeing 4.5, 5, even some 5.5s, I thought that was a little bit rich. So my initial lean is to New England at this point. But like I mentioned, when we spend the next couple of days going through the props and really dissecting them, that can either strengthen my opinion or sway me off of what my initial lean is. So I think by the weekend, I'll have a little bit more of a concrete determination of what I like.
It's interesting. I feel like as people that talk about this game and are going to have to be on the air every day breaking down the Super Bowl, I know we get kind of that paralysis by analysis thing. Does that happen for you as an odds maker sometimes, taking in so many opinions and bets that sway you?
It can, but, the one thing that we do, especially when booking a game like this, is some of the players that we've had that we've respected over the course of a season or even a few seasons, we really take that and accumulate it and put into our bookmaking practices. So, the ones that have traditionally done well with us from that regard, they'll have some influence in that. So we can't take too much beyond that and expand it, but that's the angle we try to look for when booking a game like this.
I tried to guess this, but you can give me maybe a more actual number here. Percentage-wise of the overall handle, how much comes in like the 3 days leading up to Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah, it's a majority of it. I'd say probably 75 to 80% of it. Might even be a little bit higher than that, just because when it really starts picking up the Thursday before and goes all the way in. The week leading up to it and all that, we'll get some initial play on the proposition when we release those, but it's nothing compared to what comes in the last few days.
Yeah, Jeff, before we let you go, when you do have the prop release coming up, how many people are just waiting there ready to get to the counter and play some of those bets early?
Yeah, we'll have a line probably of 40 to 50 people, and we take 2 limit bets, and then people have to reshuffle to the back of the line, and we take 2 dimes on the openers. So we definitely have a response for it each time we do it, and expecting more of the same. But we've been trying to get it out there and let people know it's going to be a night earlier this year, so we're really looking forward to that.
Hey, the earlier the better, and it is certainly an event out there. Jeff, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Okay, thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff Sherman, everybody. Again, VP of Risk Management over at Westgate, lead golf odds maker as well. You can follow him on X at Golf Odds. And again, the Superbook releasing that full prop bet menu a day early, Wednesday, January 28th, 7 p.m. They'll have that full menu available, especially for those of you out here in Vegas who want to get out there. I say here in Vegas. I'm in Lubbock.
Yeah, you still are. But apparently you're coming back today?
So I'm going to do a confirmation check in the commercial break. We'll update you when we come back. But it looked like the flight that is supposed to be coming into Lubbock from Vegas it had left the gate and taxiing. I hadn't seen the departed sign yet, so I will report back. We got to step aside here on Money Moves, continuing to break it all down here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We'll be right back.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, a couple score updates for you as we welcome you back to Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM channel 158. The Hawks, who were down for a while against the Indiana Pacers, now up nearly double digits, 107-98. They laid 5.5 at close, currently 7.5 point favorites on the live line. Live total 244.5. We are also underway, almost over with the first quarter in Charlotte as the Hornets are up 24-16 on the 76ers. They closed a 1.5 point favorite. No Joel Embiid in that one, as we mentioned earlier, but still never feel comfortable with the Charlotte Hornets in the favorites role, so we'll see how that closes out. That said, where we left off in the last segment, discussing my flight issues.
Oh, yeah.
Good news, ladies and gentlemen. We are en route and on time, it appears. So, fingers crossed, all goes to plan and that we get in and out of Lubbock and I get back to Vegas tomorrow.
Yes. What time would you land if you make it?
Like 5 o'clock.
5 p.m. Vegas time?
Correct.
So, Justin, I know you can hear me. Let's write this down, please. Yes, minus 750. We hear tomorrow. I'm just so out of it. It's just been a tough kind of day. I don't have anything to offer today.
Wow.
Can I know?
Come on. Listen, I'm sick. I'm going through a lot right now. I've been stranded in some random city for 5 days when I was supposed to be here for 2.
I mean,
things are happening.
At least you're taking care of yourself and putting solid nutrients into your body to make sure that you're fit for travel and for the stress that you have gone through over the last couple of days.
You can't just say that and not let our audience know what you mean by that.
That all you've had today are peanut M&Ms and water?
Listen, everything's closed here. You don't understand. I didn't even have coffee this morning, so I'm automatically not my normal self regardless. And yes, I have eaten this entire bag of peanut M&Ms. I have 4 left. I'm going to eat them in this final commercial break. I don't even want to know the calorie content in this for the whole thing.
Well,
either way.
Before we move on.
Since I couldn't have caffeine, I needed sugar to get my energy up.
It's a very, very sustaining amount of caffeine. That'll totally last you. Before we move on, I will just say a broadcasting, I think, faux pas. I think I'm using that right. Very dangerous to eat peanuts while you are on the air because one of those shards, I think it's all happened to us, a nut shard gets stuck in your esophagus and all of a sudden you're coughing up a lung because those peanuts. So just watch out. Just watch out. I never eat nuts on the air. Can't do it. It's too dangerous.
I think that maybe the chocolate coating is protecting me from the shards. One other thing, because in Call Me Crazy, you said, can we stop complaining about everything? I do have a complaint that you're not going to care about, and I'm sure half our audience won't care about, but there will be the select percentage that know what I'm talking about and will feel my pain and frustration. That on my flight today, it is a Southwest flight, because I didn't have my Rapid Rewards number plugged in at booking because like the Disney Global lady who was booking me and rebooking me and doing all this stuff with the cancellation, she didn't plug it in. So my A-list preferred status did not go in my flight booking. And so I'm C12. I'm C12. I'm going to be in the back in the middle seat. So sad and emotional, going through so much.
Sorry.
Feel bad for me, JVT. At least use your words.
Sorry, I'm wiping a tear from my eye. That was just one of the most harrowing things. I was actually...
the tiniest violin being played.
Yeah, I was actually telling this homeless guy when I was walking in, buddy, you think you've got it tough. Stormy Buonantony's stuck in the C row, so I don't know. You might want to rethink your priorities.
That just goes to show how little you travel, that you called it the C row. No, that's not how it works. That said, I did want to, since we touched on all of those NBA live scores, all of the 2 NBA live scores right now, which, by the way, Charlotte up 28-19 now and Atlanta 109-90.
Oh, you're ahead of me.
Are out to double digits.
I just watched that floater.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just watched that floater go down. So I just know, were you using DraftKings or something, or what are you watching on?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm watching on the odds board. With that in mind, I was curious with the 5 games still to come later today, if there was anything else that caught your attention that you might want to dive into. Yeah, so we hit really quickly Cavs and Magic. Again, no Franz Wagner today. Magic kind of on a skid here, but really interested to see. I mean, obviously, I think the mind goes to some of the really well-played games and series that these two have played against each other in recent history. But just the potential ability to buy at the top of the market, or should we sell at the bottom of the market here with Orlando? I'm misphrasing that. Anyway, maybe we're a little too low on Orlando is the whole point here. So we'll see. Some spots got to as high as 6.5. We're starting to see that get cut down, and I would tend to agree with it here. The others that I think are going to be pretty interesting, Golden State and Minnesota. This is, I think, pretty a top-tier game for many different reasons. But first off, Steph Curry with a little bit of a knee issue, Stormy. He is questionable to play today. So that is the reason why a Minnesota team that we didn't have time to bring this up, and we talked about some of the recap from over the weekend, but Minnesota continues to scuffle. They lost their 5th straight game. They're 7-9 straight up and against the spread in their last 16 points.
this is not the greatest spot for the Minnesota Timberwolves, but with Curry potentially ailing, I mean, who in the world is creating the offense for the Golden State Warriors if Curry can't play? Butler's out. He's not going to be out there. Is Brandon Podziemski going to take 20 shots tonight? Who knows? So keep in mind what this looks like for Golden State injury-wise as they head into this game against a very desperate team in the Minnesota Timberwolves that are hurting for a victory on this winning streak, or excuse me, on this losing streak. Other names on this injury report, too, by the way. Draymond Green is questionable. Al Horford is out. Jonathan Kuminga is out, as we noted the last time we talked about them. And so is DeAnthony Melton. So this is going to be the C-plus team for the Golden State Warriors tonight. Seems like a somewhat short number for Minnesota. They're pretty desperate. Would lean a little bit even at the big number, but we'll see who plays and who doesn't.
I kind of asked you this question jokingly earlier, but with the Lakers and Bulls going head-to-head tonight, I might as well. Is Luka Doncic all of a sudden going to become a defensive juggernaut? I feel like all of the headlines coming out of that last game was Luka's defensive performance prompts furious comeback for the Lakers. Can he actually make that a staple of his game at least a little bit more for Los Angeles?
I mean, he can try more, I guess. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's never going to be a thing where I think he changes the way that he plays to the point where he becomes an effective defender. But can he try harder in certain situations? Can he not complain on a possession where he doesn't get a foul call and allow a 5-on-4 going back the other way? I think you can absolutely do that more consistently. There's nothing that is stopping him from doing it. And an interesting spot here on the road against Chicago. We saw this open 3 some spots down to 1. Lakers still favored on the road. Injury report right now seems relatively clean. Austin Reeves has been out for a while. He's the only notable name. Jake LaRavia is here, but he is available. And it's a clean report for the Chicago Bulls mostly. So I can't wait to watch this. One would think that this is going to be a pretty high-scoring affair considering the lack of defense on both sides. And we've seen this total get bet up pretty quickly. Open 232.5 on the overnight. We're up to 235.5.
Okay. Big picture in the NBA. I know that you and Mitch Moss every week dive deep into various futures markets and the like. Anything new that has kind of caught your attention in the NBA that people should be looking at?
Not really. I mean, I think we've kind of hit on a lot of the – right now, it's not that everything's kind of come to a stop, but we're approaching the All-Star break. I think a lot of this stuff is really kind of evened out at this point when you talk about some of the odds. You know, we've mentioned our boy Keontae George a ton. He's the second choice at 4-1. Again, I would argue he should be favored, but Denny Obvious sticks around there at -170. Rudy Gobert still sticking around at +425 behind Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama. Rudy Gobert is probably going to be a favorite at some point here. You know, I do wonder – the Thunder's struggles have been mostly on offense, but you do wonder if the market perceives that as a hit to Chet Holmgren, just the fact that they're losing these games, and that this starts to get to the point where Holmgren's going to become, and he's finally going to move off of that odds-on price. I don't think he should be. Again, I don't think there's really a case to be made that Chet Holmgren's the best defensive player in the league right now, so that should move. And hanging on by a thread, Victor Wembanyama continues to play games, Stormy, so he is still technically eligible, so we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. But for the most part, there really hasn't been a ton that I think in the futures market outside of what I've talked about a ton. I've invested in Denver. I think they're the team to take the shot with against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And our guy, Adelman, I don't know if you saw this, added him at 66-1 about 2 or 3 weeks ago. He is now down to about 20-1 to win Coach of the Year, and I think he's going to be very live still to do that.
The Nuggets in the Western Conference +350, while OKC remains odds on -125 to win it all right now 5-1. The Thunder +120. San Antonio sitting at 13-1 as well. Last minute here before we hit the break. Well, I don't have any hockey plays today. We certainly will tomorrow. I did want to give you credit because yesterday when we were on the Live Bet Sunday show, you were asking me about a potential letdown spot for the Golden Knights coming off of the emotional win in Toronto and Mitch Marner's return. They got freaking walloped by Ottawa yesterday, which, I mean, made it that much more embarrassing how much the Senators have struggled lately, but a 7-1 loss for the Golden Knights last night.
Yep, did not care at all, and we should have bet more, to use Will Hill's pod, but we should have bet it, period, to see. I guess the question would be, maybe you can answer this on the other side, because Aiden Hill got the start. He's been awful in 9 games. Do we trust the goaltending for Vegas as we get to the postseason? We've got all goaltenders with a sub-90 save percentage at this point on this roster.
Yeah, we can discuss that. I will say Bruce Cassidy at least said coming out of yesterday's game, it was an opportunity to reset and get back to work. Yeah, that really makes me feel confident in everything that's going on. We got to step aside. When we come back, we can discuss that and also our betting weekend recap bets we have for today. And we already have one of the first legit mock drafts out. JVT and I will give you our thoughts next.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We are wrapping up this Monday edition of Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158. Stormy Buonantony out here in Lubbock, Texas, hopefully only for the next 2 hours. Jonathan Von Tobel out there at the D in downtown Las Vegas. Fun show so far. Of course, a lot of reaction to what transpired yesterday in the AFC and NFC title games. Our Super Bowl is set. We will have 2 full weeks to break down that game at length. I do want to kind of recap how we did for the weekend here, JVT, before we get to our best bets of the day and our kind of final thoughts on the program. The teasers came through. I know y'all try to judge me for my untraditional teasers, but we got the little green check mark. So the Rams and Broncos, teasing both of them up, comes through. The one we paired for the Rams and Indiana in the national championship comes through as well. That RJ Harvey receiving yards prop, yeah. JVT, you know, I was texting you, was stressing me the bleep out, especially when on his third reception of the day, when he was sitting at 21, took a negative yard, it looked like, at least. Yeah. They ended up not making it a negative yard, so he gets one more catch for 1 yard, so we get the over 21 and a half. What? Go ahead.
I don't think you got it. Like, I'll be honest with you. I watched that and
I didn't see it either.
We were tracking it too, where I was watching it. You know, about Doug Kazarian, friend of the show, Adam Hill, who covers the Raiders. We're watching, and I thought he lost a yard on the catch that ultimately gave you the final one. But final box score gave him a yard on that. I thought that was incredible because there was a couple of those moments yesterday, you know, in that game, and that goes to the Jarrett Stidham quarterback sneak where, you know, they were giving out yards left and right where I thought it was like, I think that guy's short or maybe lost a yard, but still in the box score, you got it. So good for you.
Dude, like, and what did I text you? I was like, if I get stuck on this freaking yard, I'm going to lose it. And ends up getting there. Sam Darnold pass attempts, no shot. He had himself a day. Yep. So good for you, Sammy D. We were live betting, and we had some games on the air yesterday for Live Bet Sunday. We ended up getting the first period over in Toronto, Colorado. Austin Matthews' anytime goal did not come through. Patrick Cantlay, top 10 in the American Express, did not come through. He finished T13. The top 20 gets there, but that was all. And I'm glad I didn't bet that Mark Stone prop in the Golden Knights game because, as we talked about in the last segment, they got rocked, and he was not a part of the lone goal that Vegas did score on the day. How did you do for the weekend?
Yep. 2-2, so split it, paid it back here. The two sides got there. Broncos plus 4.5, Seahawks minus 2.5. But the Patriots-Broncos, man, looked like I was going to be in a pretty good form. Second drive, Broncos get right down, getting explosive, get a touchdown, but that weather coming out of nowhere really killed that game. Seahawks minus 2.5, and then, as you mentioned, our show play there of Sam Darnold under 30.5 pass attempts was there, was cooked. Okay. So we'll see if we can get this done in the Super Bowl. I'm very much looking forward to it. I know you put this in the rundown. We didn't really get to it in its entirety, but I will say I do like to take the risk of I correlate a lot of my stuff when it comes to player props, sides, and everything in the Super Bowl. So I get very boom or bust when it comes to the Super Bowl. Last year was a very strong Super Bowl for me just because every prop and everything that I had bet tied into an Eagles blowout win, which was eventually the case. So I do like to. There is a danger in it, but I do like to correlate a lot of my stuff in the Super Bowl, as you will see here over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, something tells me we're going to have a lot of correlated Seattle Seahawks plays moving forward. Just one play for me going into today in college hoops, and it appears maybe I didn't get the best of the number because they're in this Arizona BYU game are pick'ems in a handful of shops right now. I laid 1.5 with Arizona. I just feel like there aren't going to be a lot of opportunities to get the Wildcats at a short number. I understand the appeal of BYU as a home dog, given the talent they have, given the home court advantage they have. But this is an Arizona team that really just doesn't have a lot of flaws. And so I'm going to take a shot on them as a short, rare favorite in this spot. They defend so well. They rebound so well. I mentioned earlier, they are not a team that really makes very many mistakes. They're such a good team when it comes on the offensive or defensive glass. There were just so many categories where when I dove into the numbers, it looked like they just had a slight edge in a handful of them. So rolling with Arizona -1.5. Do you have anything that you're adding to the account today?
Nothing to add. We'll have plenty of time, obviously, to add some Super Bowl stuff here today, and very much looking forward to the game tonight. I'd say, too, if you're in somebody's situation like Stormy, where you like the short number, sit back and wait. I think that you're probably going to be able to get pick here, Stormy. I mean, there's a couple of picks already, including where I'm sitting right now. And as we like to talk about, this total's up to 167 and a 1.5 or a pick spread. There's going to be a lot of volatility here, so there might be an opportunity for you once the game starts or prior to. So just keep that in mind.
On the way out here, you brought to my attention that we saw Daniel Jeremiah of NFL Network put out his first mock draft of the season. And there's always some excitement when it comes to that. Obviously, it's a long ways until April, but it gives you at least a little perspective on what people might expect. And considering quarterbacks are always the top of the town, I think it was noteworthy that the only quarterback we saw in the first round mock from Daniel Jeremiah was Fernando Mendoza, going #1 to the Raiders.
Yep, and that was all she wrote, just one quarterback. So I am, as I continue to be, fascinated by what you're going to get for total quarterbacks in the first round. My guess is that the number will be 1.5, shaded to the under. But we'll see. I mean, and then we'll see how this gets bet. I think the market does what it always does, Storm. I think they're going to bet this thing over. And that name right there, that if you're watching up at vsin.com, not Trinidad Chambliss, it's going to be Ty Simpson that I think eventually you will hear in the weeks leading up could potentially be a first-round quarterback. What if Matthew Stafford retires? What an extra year of control, Stormy. You can get a, come on now, we can get a. I think that there's only going to be one quarterback. I think we will talk ourselves into 2 or 3 going in this first round. So we will see if that's the case. But, I mean, what would you, at this point, what do you think they make it? Is 1.5 probably the number?
I think 1.5 has to be the number, but when you say shaded to the under, I guess my question is, what level of juice are we ultimately going to see on that prop? Like, how pricey do you think that will be?
I mean, I think it should be minus bajillion. I'm being a little bit hyperbolic there. I think it should be a heavy minus price. Like, I think they'll ultimately, I'll take my stab at 1.5 under minus 350.
Would you bet it?
I mean, I think there's no. Okay, I'll say no only because I think it's going to get bet to the over. So I think I'm going to be able to get a better number on the under. So, but okay. I think the number should, the actual number is, I believe, a flat 1. I don't think another quarterback sneaking into this first round. So we'll see if that is ultimately the case. But I'm willing to bet Ty Simpson, not Trinidad Chambliss. Ty Simpson is going to be the one. And I haven't looked lately, but Chambliss is still fighting for another year of eligibility, is he not? So that could come down here at some point, and then that cuts into it even more as to what you're going to ask of these quarterbacks, which, again, I don't even think Chambliss is a first-round quarterback, but the market might believe he is.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get it, but it'll be something that we can certainly follow here down the road. Any other takeaways that you had from this initial mock draft? Or I did have a follow-up question on your Matthew Stafford comment.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Were you surprised to see how many questions there were to Sean McVay and Stafford after the game asking about his retirement? Do people really think he's done?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's also part of the reason why we thought he was going to win the MVP. This is a career achievement award where you look at it and you say, hey, this is probably his last year. Let's give it to him on the way out. Remember, I mean, it was an incredible season for him, but he had some very serious back issues going into the year. He's getting a little bit longer in the tooth. There was the rumblings that maybe they were going to try to move him. I didn't think they probably never were, but I think it's a very realistic question to ask about whether or not he was going to be done after this game, for sure.
Okay. Cool, because I'm in complete agreement with you on the lifetime achievement angle and stuff, but I wasn't necessarily coming at it from the thought process of he's not coming back at all after this year. I just thought, based on everything that he had accomplished to this point, and then having a season that he did at his age, it warranted it. But interesting, because, I was a little bit caught off guard, I guess. And, I mean, Sean McVay seemed to be, too, when he was on the podium. Like, what are you talking about? Maybe we can play that sound tomorrow. It was pretty interesting.
This is why I'm so ready for draft season. A friend of the show, Doug Kazarian, texts me, Mel Kiper has Ty Simpson at number 12 or so. So
let's go.
Come on.
Let's
now.
go.
You think Ty Simpson will be a top?
I'm here for it.
Do you think he's going to be a top 15 pick? Do you think he's going to be a first-round pick?
No.
Okay.
No.
Very emphatic.
What are we doing?
Very emphatic. I like it.
Okay. My flight is supposed to be here in an hour. Everything's on time. What are the odds that I make it home tonight? What are you setting?
I'll say minus 1,000. Yes, I believe.
You do. You have faith.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I like that. You're taking it. You're laying the number. I think this will be, if I do get out, the third flight of the day that has actually departed from Lubbock, if it is me. So I would like you all to please send me some positive vibes. I would like to come home. I would like to sleep in my own bed. I think that would be great.
And we want you back.
I hate you so much. Okay, everybody, have a great day. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Good luck with your bet.
Your presence.
You're dead to me. You're absolutely dead to me.
Nobody walks in with me anymore.
What a way for us. Nobody sits in their car waiting for you to come into the studio. All right, keep it locked right here. Follow the money with Mitch and Paul coming up after this. Hopefully, I will be out there in Vegas with JVT tomorrow. Good luck, everybody. Have a great day.
Yep.